Greetings and welcome to the introduction to astronomy. In this week's exploration of the solar system, we are going to talk about the NEAR Shoemaker spacecraft and its explorations of our solar system. So let's go ahead and get started. And what is the NEAR Shoemaker spacecraft? Well, NEAR stands for Near Earth Asteroid Rendezvous. So this was a craft that was going to pass by a near Earth asteroid. Now these are the asteroids that pass, as you might guess, close to Earth or cross Earth's orbit and are ones that are potential hazards. Now the craft was launched in February of 1996. And its purpose was to do a number of different things. First of all, to study the near Earth asteroid known as Eros, and to land on Eros. And hopefully this would help us to better understand conditions in the early solar system. Why would it do that? Well, many of the asteroids are the leftover bits of debris of material that eventually formed into the planets. So when we can study the asteroids, we learn about the material that originally was similar to the things that formed Earth. So it was many billions upon billions of things like Eros that formed our Earth 4.5 billion years ago. So let's take a look at the findings here. And what we've seen is, first of all, didn't go straight to Eros. Actually, in 1997, the year after it's launched, it flew by another asteroid known as 253 Matilda. And that was the asteroid pictured here and gave us a number of images of a large chunk of its surface. So since it flew by another asteroid, we had a chance to get two asteroids for the price of one. Now the first attempt to orbit Eros in December of 1998 failed. So it was unable to achieve orbit, and it had to kind of follow along the sun in a very large orbit around until February of 2000, when it was able to reach Eros again and successfully attain orbit. And it was able to give us again close-up images such as the one we see here, showing the odd shape of Eros. It's not a big sphere because it is a smaller object, and it does not have enough gravity to pull itself into a spherical surface. However, we can also see the very distinct cratering that occurs, and it is a very heavily cratered object with many craters and craters on top of craters. Now, after orbiting it for a while and using several different orbits to study the asteroid in detail, it was set to land in February of 2001. And that actually occurred. This image is taken just a couple hundred meters above the surface of the asteroid. And then it would land on the asteroid. It actually soft landed, becoming the first spacecraft to ever soft land on an asteroid. And it was able to survive for a short time there, giving us some data on the asteroid and studying it. However, the extremely cold temperatures there eventually led to the demise of the spacecraft, and contact was lost shortly afterward. But it was the very first soft landing on an asteroid, and our first chance to study one of these asteroids, the kind that come near Earth, up close. So let's go ahead and finish up with our summary. And what we've looked at today is the new NEAR Shoemaker spacecraft launched to study Eros, which is an example of a near Earth asteroid. The mission was successful, although delayed because of a failed orbital insertion the first time, and became the first time we ever soft landed on an asteroid. And its purpose was to really better understand conditions in our early solar system. So what were things like early on when things like our own Earth were forming? So that concludes this discussion of the NEAR Shoemaker spacecraft. We'll be back again next week for another exploration of the solar system video. So until then, have a great day, everyone, and I will see you in class.